Yeah, we know already lots of false solutions, but what to do about? The great debate, we hope. In what way sustainable development is possible in a free market? Philippe, go your own way.
Do we need translation to French? And are we discussing in Dutch or in English? If we discuss in English, are there then people that want translation to French? If you want, no problem, but then the translator has to stay here. Say it now, not in 5 minutes. Is there anybody who wants translation to French? Il y a quelqu'un qui veut traduction en français? Non? C'est le moment? Last call? Nee? Ok, merci à vous. I want to start with normally we would do at the last moment. That's thanking the people that worked for this conference. Especially, I don't know where she is. Anne-Catherine, where is Anne-Catherine? Where is Anne-Catherine? Anne-Catherine? Anne-Catherine is coming. Yeah? Anne-Catherine! This is the main organizer of this conference, Anne-Catherine Lecluse. And if you don't want us to stay here until 10, 11 o'clock this night for cleaning everything up, then we would like you to help. If you can, contact Anne-Catherine after this meeting. So if you feel guilty because you are the whole day sitting on chairs that you didn't move, there is only one solution, Anne-Catherine Lecluse. Thanks too for the people that worked here yesterday. Thanks for David for making this booklet. We still have it on the entrance. You can take it home. You can take several pieces of this home to convince your neighbors, your grandfather, your grandmother. We have the documentaries we made with Climaxi that you can find on the entrance too. This is a little promotion clip, you know? Yeah? Let me announce that on the 5th of July in Brussels, in a cafe, in a bar at Gouwblommeke van Papier, that we have a meeting over there about energy poverty in the normal behavior of Climaxi. That means that we meet there with people from the ecological and from the poverty movements to organize a campaign towards the elections in October. Another thing to announce is the Climate Action Camp in Leuven. If you want to be in a camp and organize some action on the main time, then after the conference you contact David. Maybe you can say hello to him. Voilà, this is David if you don't know him. If you want to go to the camp, you contact David. For the rest, we are in an ancient chocolate factory. You didn't see anything about this until now, but here we have some chocolate of that ancient chocolate factory. We are going to organize this debate a little bit on a turbo way. I think you have heard enough for today. Who is boycotting this? We took some conclusions for the thing that we organized too. We appreciate all your attention of today. We appreciate the knowledge of the speakers. We are going to continue this sort of events, and there is a proposal from the people from Germany to organize a Greenwash conference in Germany next year. Yes. It will be in Bremen, no? Thanks to the Germans. In Belgium, we are always glad when they go back home. No? In time. Of oppressed people, you know. Okay. This is what we are going to limit in the next edition is the amount of PowerPoints, you know. We saw too much PowerPoints today, but let me ask briefly, I present you Matthias Lievens. Matthias Lievens is a, can people that are standing on the bar or keep their mouth or sit here or something else, because it's difficult for us like that. Thank you very much. A little bit authoritarian can be good at the end of the day. I present you Matthias Lievens, member of Climaxi, Nina Holland, CEO, Corporate European Europe Observatory, and Klaus Schulze, Schenk, rettet das Regenwald in Deutschland. No? I want to ask each of you what was for you the most interesting workshop, and I give you just 3 minutes for a personal remark, a personal feeling about the workshop that you found most interesting. Who can start? Yes, I know this is a debate without papers and PowerPoint, so just put a mic in your heart and say what you liked on this. Matthias?
Well, I will just give a little bit an impression that I had, or a reflection that I made when I was following the workshops. So the question is, it's very strange to be here together with all green people, critically discussing green projects or projects that claim to be green. It's a very strange thing to do. And well, I wondered, do we now have to be optimistic or pessimistic? What is the atmosphere of this conference actually? Do we have to be pessimistic because green has gone wrong? Or is there reason to be optimistic? And an idea came into my mind. It was a quote by William Morris, and it came in my mind when I was in the translation cabin this morning. It's a quote by William Morris. It's a 19th century romantic socialist writer, and he wrote, people fight for a certain cause and they lose, they are defeated, but after a while they observe that nevertheless that for which they were fighting is realized, comes about, but in a totally different way, or in a totally different, it's realized in a totally different way than what they first intended. And I have the impression that what we are facing here is something similar. All kinds of let's say, green projects, which have, let's say, what you have had the last decades is, let's say, a growing green movement, a growing ecological movement, putting pressure on companies, spreading the idea that there is a big ecological disaster, but let's say, never able to really change something fundamentally, really taking the initiative in the hand and changing something in society. So you could say a pessimistic story about the green movement that can be told of the last decades. But on the other hand, what you see is that the green movement has, let's say, determined the agenda, put the green issue on the agenda, made everybody conscious about it. And it forced all kinds of actors who were previously anti-green to the core, it forced them to answer to us. It forced them to answer to our analysis of the ecological crisis. And I think that is what we are seeing today. All the initiatives about labeling, companies who feel the need to answer the ecological criticism. All the lobbyists in favor of emissions trading, all these banks, companies, etc., who feel the need, who are urged to develop a kind of green profile, a kind of green project of themselves. It's not our project. It's not the project that, let's say, the critical environmental movement has been fighting for. But what we did, at least, with the critical environmental movement, is forcing them to answer this, and we urged them to take an initiative. And that is exactly what William Morris was stating. You fight for something, you don't realize your project as you wished, but what you wished for is realized in a different way. And what is the result? Is we come in a completely different situation where you again have to fight something in a different terrain. And what is this different terrain today? And I will stop perhaps now. That is that green is no longer something of leftists or progressives, of people who are concerned about, you know, the typical leftist or green ecologist activist. In a certain way, you can say that today everybody has become green. We've been discussing a whole lot of cases today about companies who claim to be green, about governance, about all kinds of actors who were previously clearly anti-green, anti-ecological, who now claim to be green. And this completely changes, I think, the ecological discussion. The ecological discussion should now be about there are different ways to be green. There are different ways to give content to what it means to be green, to have an ecological project. And I think what this conference did today, and that was the reflection that I made, is that it contributed to make that visible. There are different ways to be green, a market way to be green, or a more democratic grassroots to be green. And I think this is something important, and we should make it, this day-to-day contributed to making that visible. That was a bit my reflection on the day, let's say.
Thanks, Matthias. Nina?
I would like to say that one of the most interesting things today was that Climaxi dared to show a film that was banned in Germany. And I would really like to thank Wilfried Huisman, who made the film, for coming. And I would like a big applause for Wilfried. Yeah, Wilfried, you're about to leave, but this was a thank you for coming. Well, I think, no, I really am serious in that, that the fact that this film was shown today and that there was a discussion between the filmmaker and WWF was very interesting. It doesn't happen always, and in Germany, in fact, the film is not allowed to be shown, and the book is under many court cases. So I think it also shows that when you seriously start to dig into greenwashing or projects that are not what they seem to be, then actually you get a lot of problems on your way. And yeah, so I think we really should be lobbying to get this film shown on television in Belgium and in the Netherlands. I think what it showed to me is that within the sort of critical crowd that we are here today, there is already some knowledge on greenwashing, and maybe not all the details, but a general notion is known. I think also in the general public there is more awareness on greenwashing and on the fact that there are now really, what Matthias was saying, different approaches to addressing social and environmental problems. But that this still hasn't translated into really strong and clear arguments, not in the Netherlands, not in Belgium, but you see it a lot stronger already in France, but also throughout, for instance, South America, because there the oppositions and the contradictions are so much more clear. It's much harder to explain something to consumers than who just buy something in the supermarket than it is to explain something to somebody who actually lives in a certain area where things are happening. So it is what, there was a new report from critical scientists in the Netherlands that described this really well, is that it is an agriculture that has been pulled out of any sort of social and ecological context in which, and they talk about organized irresponsibility, because they talk about chains, and in the end nobody is responsible anymore for their part in the chain because they're only one part of the chain. And I think in that sense it's really interesting to now start talking about alternatives and alternative views that are more holistic, that don't just chop up the food chain or any other production just into parts where nobody longer feels responsible. So this is what I got from both the film, but also the discussion in the afternoon, the workshop on soy and GMOs. Well, for me, it's that were the interesting parts, and I'm sorry to have missed the other workshops.
Thanks, Klaus.
Yes, I'm not sure. I think the message is maybe not correct, because I think the film has been broadcast in German public television about 14 times. So at this moment, it's not possible to show it again. And it has also been blocked in YouTube for the German viewers. In Spain, for example, where I live, you can still view the movie in the internet. And the book happens the same. It has never been officially banned. Only the WWF or their lawyers try to intimidate the booksellers, and all the big booksellers put it out of their program, but it was still possible to buy it.